All right, what's goody, everybody? This is your favorite hookah smoking podcast. Whoa, I thought I was about to knock something over. Behind the Clouds, and I'm joined here with a few familiar faces you might notice from the podcast. If you guys want to introduce yourself, go ahead, start us out, Fletcher.
Yo, what's up? Fletcher Knoxville from hookah.tv. One of the hookah hipsters.
Cool. Is that it? Is that all you guys say?
Yeah, man, we can talk about what we smoke after.
It's Sean, it's Smoke Pass. What's going on, everybody? Detroit 313 represent. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so with the music that you all just heard, you should know what we're going to be talking about today. So before we do anything, I'm just going to say spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the latest episode or the last few episodes, spoiler alert, okay? Turn this off now, watch it another time, or if you don't care, then watch it. But, we're just going to talk a little bit of Walking Dead. We're going to talk about the show as a whole to begin with, and then we're going to kind of merge into what's going on now. So we got about an hour to kill, you know what I mean? And we're just going to smoke a bowl and talk some Walking Dead. So with that being said, Fletcher, why don't you go ahead and start us out traditionally like we always do about this time with the honorary first pull.
Yo, what's goody? All my friends out there at the tube of the Illuminati. I was just going to say that, everyone always wants to know why we don't smoke it first. It's because we like to take our first pull together. So some say it's like stubbing your toe on Easter of 2003. Others like being attacked by zombies. But to us, it's the first pull.
The show may commence. So, let's go ahead and, since you did so well with that first pull, Fletcher, you want to kind of dive into this and just let's kind of take everybody through what the show has come to. Now, we're on what, season 5?
Yep.
Okay,
Season
so we're on
5, episode 10 just wrapped up.
Season 5, episode 10. So we got a lot to kind of, overview here real quick. So I guess we'll just kind of give our takes on everything that's happened thus far. But why don't you kind of just like introduce it to us, Fletcher?
All right, so basically me, Sean, Nuck, the BTC crew, we're all good friends. And one night we were all on, and like all of us, and me, Nuck, and Sean just found out that we all have a love of Walking Dead. We started talking about it, and everyone was like, what the fuck? Why are we all talking about this? This is stupid. Except us. We were like little kids on Christmas Eve, like, hee, Walking Dead. So yeah, we're going to talk about a few things, some like points of interest of the past 5 seasons that we really liked. But then after this week, we're going to try to stay focused on the newer episodes. I'm actually currently watching Walking Dead in the background. Season 3 when they're currently taking the prison from zombies. But yeah, so we're just gonna kind of shoot the shit and see what we come up with.
All right, so basically, real fast, before we get into that, of course you want to know what we're smoking, right? So I'm smoking a honorary first Walking Dead, Talking Dead podcast BTC Clouds collab smoke of Trifecta Mountain Fog mixed with Trifecta BDS, which is a melon blend, and a little bit of FML. I've been on this really big Trifecta kick lately. Expect some reviews later. But Sean, what are you smoking, man?
I am just wanted something extra cold, and so I stacked on a little bit of Sub-Zero on the bottom and then some Waterman on top, and it's very, very nice. And it's out of my Harmony Bowl, Lotus, of course, Zahara, C70.
AKA Zara. Sean likes to add extra vowels.
Yeah, my Zara Z70. And my D-Hose, my Dream Hose.
No Samsarius, folks.
Yeah, no Samsarius. I smoked it earlier today. I just didn't feel like cleaning it out before this.
What are you smoking on, Fletch?
I'm actually going to throw you a curveball because I'm smoking Alfacher, grapefruit, blueberry, and mint mixed together equal parts called the Triforce blend.
What? Wait, AF blueberry what?
Blueberry, grapefruit, and mint.
Okay. I'm telling you, you got to do the blueberry and AF orange. It's nuts. That's all I just.
I'm not a big orange guy.
Just mix it. Just mix it.
Like equal
How
parts.
about like a blood orange since this is Walking Dead? Hey,
Hey.
Well, we
ooh.
should all be smoking Smoking Dead from Nirvana.
Hey, shout out to MedWalk.
Hey.
So basically, I'm assuming everybody that's tuning in is familiar with the show. Basically, it's the world's gone to shit. There might be a little bit of cussing in this podcast, so we'll try to keep it to a minimum. The
Yeah,
world's
we'll
gone to
keep our fucking
shit.
cussing down.
The world's gone to shit. There's a few survivors. Everybody's, trying to survive the zombie apocalypse. And they call them walkers. So if you hear us refer to anything as a walker, we're talking about zombies. And basically, it's focused on one group mainly, which is Rick's group. And like I said, there's been 5 seasons worth of material. Well, 4 and 5.5, I guess. 4.5, 4.5 seasons worth of material. So basically, it just follows this group and all their encounters with other groups and with zombies. And there's been a buttload of characters. I know Fletcher had some questions prepared. I guess that would kind of tie into the overview of everything that's happened. I don't know. You think that's a good segue?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start off with something that, to me, I think is something we could all talk about pretty easily. I want to know what character we each can relate most to.
Sean, you go first. You have a
Oh
top
gosh. I knew you were gonna pick me. Man. Let's see. As the story has progressed, let's see, the show has been on air since Halloween of 2010. So we're in 2015 now, so it's been some time. I've associated myself, and that's pretty cool. It's a fun question because when you fall in love with TV shows, you try to figure out which person you would hang out with or who you would most be like. But mine have changed quite a bit. But I think one character that's stayed the same. That it was introduced definitely later on in the season. I want to say season 3 is when pops in. But Michonne, she's a badass with a samurai blade, and she's pretty hardcore. I like it. The
So
other
she was
options, but
Well, sorry to cut you off. Michonne, so basically, she was kind of like that loner, and then
mhm.
she eventually found herself with the group. So you feel like that's how you would be? Like, you'd kind of be that loner. You'd figure out, how to walk through the hordes of zombies without being noticed or bitten, and then, you see yourself maybe attaching to a group.
Yeah, and that's just kind of just the way of survival. I like that character when she came in. It was kind of like, whoa, this chick is already ready to go. She's got zombies on chains, which we find out to be, that she's related, not related. Well, she knows who those zombies are, that she has chained with them. But she's kind of already worked up a way to get around, and plus she started off with a samurai blade, which is crazy because everyone was looking for guns and hatchets and stuff, and she just kind of came into the game ready to go. But just the way that she goes into the group, she tries to be a hard ass and not really need the group, but secretly she kind of does, and it shows later on. And then just after that, she just kind of just blended in with the group, and it's been pretty nice since then.
Now, she taught herself the blade, right? She didn't, like, at the start of the apocalypse, she wasn't like a samurai expert, right? She pretty much.
No, no, no. She already had the blade because I remember they had the flashback. So kind of that was a crazy episode when they did a flashback on her backstory and they were showing her boyfriend or her husband and stuff like that, and his friend. But she already had the blade back then. So yeah, this was definitely before she got into or before the apocalypse happened. She's definitely knows a way around the sword.
Okay. So what about you, Fletcher? Who do you find yourself, or should I go?
No, I'll go, man. I've had more time to think about it than you all.
Okay, cool.
It's going to be a very funny thing for me, but I feel like
Merle.
I can relate most to Carl.
Dirt, 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 dirt.
Yeah, I think so. I feel that way because for the longest time, people viewed him as like this weak, like not able to do much person. But then, like, you realize that he's actually a very strong, determined character that is going to do shit. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be important. So I think something about that and like he's lost some people, and I don't know, I just really can relate to that character, how it's developed, and who I used to be and who I am now.
That's interesting as hell. Everybody's about to hate me for who I pick. I can already tell
Lori,
you right now.
you read
Yeah,
this as well?
Lori. Lori, where's Carl?
Carl could never stay in the house. That's why he killed like that. Going into characters evolving, Carl killed me so much in the first, second season because it was like Carl stay in the house, and the next thing you know, it's like where's Carl? I don't know. He's in the woods. What? Why didn't he stay in the house? It was always just like
Y'all
stay.
remember when Carl got shot?
Yeah.
All right. So the person I see myself relating most to, and this is terrible, but it's not. Um, now I would have handled things a little bit differently, but I can relate to what he's going through, and I picked Shane because he thought he thought Rick was done. You know what I'm saying? And he tried to start a new life. He was the leader of the camp. He kind of got everybody, their spirits up or whatever. He took charge, and the way he got when Rick came back after him and Lori had already like formed that pack, dude. I'm not a jealous person, but like imagine that. You know what I mean? Like it's the end of the world. You think you got your girl, you got a camp. You kind of got your path figured out, and you're trying to like you can't just let that go. You know what I mean? Like he developed that strong love the whole time Rick was gone, and I don't know. I feel like I would like almost react the same way. Like I wouldn't be able to get over it, but I try to. But like deep down inside, I'm like, man, fuck it. It's the end of the world, bro. Like that's my girl now. Like, it sucks. It breaks bro code. But in a zombie apocalypse, man, bro code's out the window. If I think you're dead and your ex or your girl, whatever, thinks you're dead, I mean, hey, man, I don't know what to tell you. Like this is us now, bruh. And this is my camp. You know what I'm saying? You ain't taking over, bro. Like
Yeah.
I could totally see like two alpha male. Like I'm such an alpha male. So I kind of relate to that. It's weird, but I don't think I would have took it as far as he did to where I'm gonna try to kill Rick.
Okay, I would say because I was like, now do you still keep that same character mentality all the way through? Because towards the end, that guy was he kind of needed to go.
What's also me
Yeah.
wondering, like, if there's I'm also wondering though if there's a zombie apocalypse, if Nuck has my back now.
Well, that's the thing. He had everybody's back in the group, but then like if you're Rick, you know what I'm saying? If your girl's, if she's feeling me and we both think you're dead, I mean, come on, man. I'm already taking care of your son. Like, hey, bro, this is my family, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you, dog. Like,
The one thing that hasn't been determined, I guess, is how long Rick was in a coma. Um, and I don't know if that plays into how much time Shane had, with Lori or so. Because let's say if it was a month, would you have that same mentality if it only a month had passed or
see
2 months?
that bond they developed. I don't think that developed over just a month. You know what I mean? I
Oh
think
no, no, no.
definitely longer. And the way the city was, like you think about it, when Rick went into a coma, the shit was just about to hit the fan. And then by the time he got out of the coma, so much had changed. The city was already to shit. I
Yeah,
don't think it'd get like that quick. You know what I mean? They tried to
yeah.
quarantine and stuff failed. You know what I mean? So a lot of time had passed. So I would say like probably not a year, but
Yeah.
probably a good 6 or 7 months probably passed in my opinion.
Okay. But would you agree, I guess, in that aspect if about 6 or 7 months pass and then dude pops back in? I mean, like,
I mean, ultimately, like it'd be up to the chick. It'd be like, yo, like
yo, who's
who
deep
you,
picking?
you know what I'm saying? Like and then if she picks like the other dude, like that's tough, man, because it's like, yo, now you're taking my chick. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole different world now, bro.
Yeah.
Like
But I would be okay with that because she's got a kid already. And then, I mean, in the apocalypse, you could find somebody else kind of with no strings attached. I don't know. I'm looking at it in a different way.
tomorrow's not promised in the apocalypse, bro. And I want to
But then,
smash. I
but
want to
then,
smash before I die. Let's keep it
but then,
real.
and I'm pretty sure that's Shane's kid. Is that
Yeah. The
Judith.
what's her name?
Judith.
Judith.
Yeah.
That's Shane. That's my baby.
That's your
You're
baby?
carrying my baby now.
Yeah. But that was such a pivotal moment, like when Rick had to do justice with dude. I mean, that was when he had to take him out. He was acting crazy even before he took him out. Just like the flashes of like him going crazy. I don't know. It was. I love the character build up for that. It was really, really good.
Yeah. And again, like I said, I think I would have resolved things a little bit different. Honestly, I probably would have just left. I wouldn't
Mm.
have tried to kill anybody. Like if she picked dude, like I couldn't stay around. You know what I'm saying? And I've survived long enough to know what I need to do. I would just probably, get whatever supplies I needed and then go try to find another camp or whatever. And you know, I think I would be in that mindset to where it's like, fuck it, man. Now you've taken everything away from me in this new fucked up world. You've taken everything from me. So like, what do I have to stay here for? It's just gonna hurt me. So I'd rather just go out on my own and figure something else out. But I wouldn't like wish malice on him or anything. You know what I'm saying? Because I would understand. Okay, that was his chick first. Whatever. If she decides to go back to him, then it is what it is. I'll be on the outside looking in, but I'm not gonna sit here and take it.
Yeah.
You know who another character I feel like I could relate to? This sounds weird too. It's kind of the same thing as Carl, is Carol.
Really?
Carol, dude, she like originally she was like this weakling. She was getting the shit kicked out of her by her husband. Do you not remember that down by the lake? And
Yeah. Yeah.
then she lost her daughter Sophie. There's half a season when they were on the farm just looking for Sophie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was where Walking Dead almost lost me because I was like, yo, this girl is gone. Like I don't, there's no way that she's surviving by herself out there.
Yeah,
And they wasted a lot of time and they wasted a lot of episodes. I mean, to jump to what was that season cliffhanger that was the in between of the half season, um, with her walking out of the barn or being in the barn. I mean, that was just dragged out for what, 8 episodes? That's 8 hours.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
come on.
I felt like they did really good though, because like, I mean, talking about how they take too long to do stuff, I felt like the governor. We're all over the place right now, guys. By the way, but the governor that took way too long, in my opinion. They spent way too much time with what was the governor's town called? Do you remember?
Ooh, that I'm not sure of. It's I don't know. I mean, I could Google it for you. Um,
Yeah. What was the name of it? That's a good
um,
question. I got a question too after we finish this riff.
Riffraff.
Riff
Um,
raff. That was a
yeah.
town, riff raff.
Yes. That. um, Woodbury. That's the name.
Woodbury.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Uh,
Woodbury stuff took too long with like, what was it? Was it Angela? No. What was
Andrea.
Andrea. Yeah, like all that
oh
stuff.
yeah.
It just took way too. And then the governor spilled over into the next season
Yeah.
with the new crew, and
I didn't like that, by the way. I mean, it was good TV. I just didn't like how. I didn't like what happened, man. Like he turned on his boy. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
But
he
in the
let him
zombie
into
apocalypse,
camp.
bro code's off play, man.
Well, I mean, as far as like the situation with Lori, yeah, Broco's up. But I mean, that dude had his back, man. You know what I mean? At Woodbury, that was his road dog, and he didn't have anywhere to go. And that guy, he took him in, and he's like, hey, now it's my turn to run the show.
Yeah.
But my question was going to be, and Sean's going to be taking a break from us here in a second, here in a little bit, but he'll be back. But basically, maybe you could start out with this first, Sean, before you have to go. What do you think was the most pivotal moment in the series? Now, this is a really hard question,
oh God.
but what do you think was the most pivotal moment? Like, what? Maybe not necessarily pivotal, but for you, what did it for you? Like, what was your climax of the series so far, or has it even happened yet?
I
I honestly don't think it's happened. I think like after this last episode, I'll tell you one thing about the last episode. And I'm weird with scenes. Like I love certain things, like the way things are shot. But the shot of all of them kind of just walking, they're tired, there's no water, and it's just like the group of them walking. Like that's the group. And honestly, like a big pivotal moment, and I honestly just talked about this with my girlfriend last night, was when Rick is talking to Daryl and everyone's by the campfire, and he says, we're the Walking Dead. And it's the first time that the group is called that, or anyone has even mentioned the name of the show. Um, but I don't know. That was really big. I enjoyed, like, that's the crew. This is what we have left. These are the survivors. These are pulled from all over the place. People trying to go to Washington, trying to go, elsewhere. Everyone's come together, and then that's the group. So I don't know. Really, a lot of people didn't like that episode last night because there was a lot of talking. I don't know. I read some forums on it, but I really enjoyed that little speech that was given right there. But a
But
pretty pivotal.
Daryl didn't accept it though.
No, no, Daryl didn't accept it, but it was just like I don't know, just him saying it, just like him giving that speech. It was better than the dictatorship speech that was given at
The
the
Rick.
first. This is a dictatorship. I mean,
Now,
he was going to town.
now I agree with you somewhat on that. I feel like that was definitely a pivotal moment for the season, like show wise. But I didn't pick that for me. But I'll go last. Fletcher, what was your pivotal moment, like you personally?
There are a few points where I've been like, very few points. Like I think every character has a different pivotal moment.
Mhm.
You know, I talked about Carl when I'm pretty sure when he killed his mom, like that changed who he was as a character.
Yeah,
Whenever Merle, like when it zooms in on Merle's eyes and Merle dies, like that changed Daryl a little bit. That was pivotal for him. But I think for me, I feel like through what we have right now, Herschel being killed was the most pivotal because he was like the positive light in the group. And the feel of every episode since then almost has been a very like downtrodden, depressing feel. And it's almost like, I mean, especially with the last episode, you know, it's just this different vibe. And
yeah.
with Tyreek, you know, like everyone's mentality is just almost like, are we gonna make it, rather than let's do this shit.
You could definitely see it in his daughters. After Herschel passed, man, his daughters were like they both changed
Beth and
slowly, like
Maggie, yeah,
getting
The
like almost dark. You know what I mean? But Glenn, even Glenn is changing,
yeah,
which is crazy to me. I figured he was always going to be that, you know, that positive guy. But even Glenn's starting to like after the whole
fade
Washington.
out.
Glenn
Yeah.
was like, "Yo,
Yeah, because
what the."
he's done so many crazy things. I mean, like when he left the church at one time to kind of join the group and go travel, and he didn't even know what the outcome was going to be. He was just doing it for the group, and I don't even think he feels like that act was even appreciated. But to touch on the Herschel thing, I don't know if you guys watch Talking Dead, you know, when they talk after the show or whatnot.
yeah,
But
yeah.
on the scene after the season finale, when the farm burnt down, that whole blazing scene, which was
Yeah,
awesome. That was actually a really pivotal moment when that whole barn went down. How many
yeah.
characters were just kind of displaced and how they kind of came back together. Actually, I really like that part. But what I was going to say on that is that Herschel's character was supposed to die during that scene. He was supposed to die in the fire, and that's how they had it written out in the script. And Herschel or Scott Wilson, whatever, when he was reading his script, they all had their table meeting to read their script, and he found out that his character wasn't going to die. They decided to keep him for a couple more episodes, and then it turned into creating his whole new story in the jail. So I was really happy that they actually kept him on longer. But his death was definitely a pivotal moment. But I'm glad it happened then, as opposed to him just being tossed into the flames and being left behind at the farm.
Definitely for sure. And to go back to the question, the pivotal moment for me was just the whole prison experience. I felt like when they got to the prison, they finally felt safe. They finally felt like now we can rebuild. Now we can do this. And just after like they had it up and running, they had a system, they had the gates. It was finally starting to feel almost like the old world, you know,
Hmm.
before the apocalypse. You know, obviously with the exception of zombies, you know, killing zombies every day outside the fence, but still, like they had a system down. They were safe. They could go to sleep with no fear, basically. And then to see that just go down, like when the governor finally came and and just destroyed the prison with his new group, and that just really like I feel like that changed everybody.
Yeah.
That and when I say changed everybody, I mean as far as like hope. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Everybody kind of started
Yep.
losing hope, and they were looking for anything to grasp on to have new hope, and that's why they were so bouted about Washington. That's
Yeah.
why they're
Yeah.
still bouted about Washington. But I think the prison, the whole prison season, whatever you want to label it, that for me personally, that was the climax, and what happened after was just like okay, new direction, and just changes the game totally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually watching the episode where the first episode of the prison right now. Um, but like like you said, they have that change mentality. It's like they're out of options, and that's that. I feel like after Herschel, they kind of were looking forward to Terminus, and then they got there, and it was fucked.
I'm sorry, with the name Terminus, I can't expect much.
I had zero expectations, especially when that first lady when they opened the door, and that lady was like, "Welcome to Terminus," and she's like brainwashed like a mug. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "No, this is bad."
There's a whole bunch of different like indications that Terminus was bad. I mean, there was like everything from the lady that was killed by Carol. I guess she was one of the heads in Terminus. That exact same lady is like the spitting image of the painting that they found in the house before they got to Terminus, and it's covered with blood, and it's this crazy, creepy looking lady, and it's the exact same. It looks exactly the same as the lady that's in Terminus.
What,
And then,
what episode was that, man? I want to look that up. I didn't notice that.
yeah, it's basically the I don't know what exact episode. I'll look it up after this, but it's like a couple episodes before they get to Terminus. They're going through a house. I think it's one of the houses that Rick and Carl are staying in. But there's a painting of a lady. It's an older painting, but she's covered in like blood splatter all over it, and they like zoom in on the face on that. But then when it goes into the Terminus, a couple episodes later down the line, when it gets to that lady, she looks exactly the same as that lady. And there was a whole bunch of other different clues that Terminus was bad. But with the name Terminus, I mean, I think terminate, number one. Right off the
Exactly.
bat. Yeah, it's like, hey, we got to go to Terminus. It's like, wait, bro, that doesn't sound fun at all. I mean, but they're always hoping. That's what it is that they're always hoping. They're hoping that something will be different. They're hoping that's all they've got is hope. But now, just like what you're saying, they're losing hope. But,
I mean, but at that point, you lose your home at the prison. I mean, you almost have to go check it out, though, right? Like you have to check it out, even though everything inside you is telling you. Like Rick knew. He was like, Terminus, come on.
I think the only reason they did it, I think they knew, but I think they also knew their family or their team or their group well enough to know that that's where everyone was going to go and that's where they'd find each other.
Yeah. And the signs seem promising. It's just join Terminus. Terminus this way. It's like, oh, okay, thanks for the little tips and this and that. But I'm definitely one thing that shocked me was last night's episode was the dogs. I don't know if you guys have been picking up on the radio news that comes in anytime they're on the car, but there's the group of people that are going through and massacring groups of living people, and also they have dogs and whatnot. But yeah, who was that? The other character, Sasha. Sasha pulled out the sniper and just bing, 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 just picked off all the dogs, and I was like, whoa, that just kind of came out of nowhere. And even the one character, the kid, Everybody Hates Chris, I forget his name. That's all I know him as is Everybody Hates Chris. But he was
Noah?
sitting there, he was just sitting there kind of shocked and just like still kind of realizing like this is survival. Like, and he's like, I don't know if I'll make it.
See, to me, it's like, okay, we're going along this road or whatever, and there's just like these random dogs. Like, there's no way they would have made it. Zombies would have eventually got to the dogs.
They're part of the group. They're part. I think that they're part of the slaughter group.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. So it's
okay.
like, it's a bit of foreshadowing. Plus,
Yeah.
I watched the scenes on the next
Yeah.
Walking Dead, and that guy pops up. Hey, I'm your friend, and then they had the water out there in the middle of the road. Hey, this is from a friend.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on.
I think the water in the middle of the road was from Morgan.
No, but if it was from, he would have recognized Rick, man, and he would have already like.
He would have waited for Rick.
Exactly.
Morgan. But also, I don't think Morgan could carry that much water on him at a time. He's already carrying so much, and there was jugs, so 3 jugs of water bottles, and all that. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking that it's going to be another trap. I mean, that preview for next week's episode looks redonkulous.
Yes, it does.
I'm all about it.
What do you have any more questions or like talking points, Fletcher?
I mean, I wanted to know who in the series whose death has bothered you the most.
Easy by far, Herschel for me.
See, I don't think so for me.
See, for me, I'll explain why. Just kind of like kind of like what we went into earlier, just like how it seemed like, and that ties in with the prison. Everybody's mentality changed. You lost your home. You lost your. He wasn't necessarily a leader, but he was that person that brought the hope the most.
I
And
keep going.
and just basically, he was really important to the group and their survival and their sanity, I
Yeah.
would say. Then that's why I pick Herschel, but that's
And
my pick.
and I'm kind of on the same line with you as far as keeping a level-headedness, and mine goes into yesterday's episode, which is so great that I actually uh, watched it before doing this. But Tyrese, and actually that wasn't even last episode. That was 2 episodes ago. Anyway, Tyrese death. The guy's, he kind of comes off sometimes soft or too much feelings or too much emotions, but at the same time he can go crazy. Walk outside with a hammer and destroy a whole group of people, and then come back into the room like, yo, let's go to work. But he was just so level-headed. I mean, he stopped people from doing crazy stuff, and that's kind of like what you need, because you take that prison whole time, as a good example. You put all these people into the prison, you would hope that everyone is a level head, but no, you've got kids out there feeding zombies dead rats, and you got people killing other humans before they even turn into zombies and burning them. There's a lot of crazy stuff going inside. So keeping a level-headed person in the group is always a necessity. So Tyrese was definitely just a big surprise for me. I knew that they were going to be taking off some characters, but not Tyrese.
Talking about Tyrese, though, his death, I felt like that episode was one of the most artsy episodes they filmed. And, I felt like they did him right. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
They paid tribute to him with flashbacks from all the people that have,
Yeah.
really,
It wasn't just like, boom, he's dead. Bye.
Yeah. But for me, this is going to sound really weird. Tyrese is one because I feel like that's when they lost a lot of hope too, after Herschel and then Tyrese. But this is going to sound weird, but Beth. Beth is kind of, to me, represented innocence the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like with Beth dying, all innocence is gone, and so now it's kind of like shit's hit the fan because they spent so much time going after her, and then they knew she was alive, and to see what that's done to Daryl,
Mm-hmm.
What was it last episode? Daryl just sitting there crying.
Yeah, and he had to hurt himself to get tears to come out.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what he did.
I feel like he didn't feel anymore, and he just wanted to feel some type of emotion.
I don't even think he felt that though. I think he cried because he couldn't feel that.
Right, he wanted to feel, but even that, you know what I mean? If that makes any sense, he just wanted to feel. He wanted to experience emotion, I think, and he was just trying anything.
Yeah, and that's when Carol was kind of like, I know you have to let things hit you. I know you have to let things. You have to feel things. And that's her kind of just like, appreciating or just realizing his grief method. It takes time because he was always the one that was just like, you're still living, let's keep moving, or just you have no time to cry, you don't have to suffer that. And it was just like finally when he needs to cry, it was like, I don't know how to do this.
Now, did anybody else think that Daryl and Carol were gonna hook up?
They already had.
I mean, but it's so not a relationship.
No, but at one point it was.
What happened? Why did it stop?
Because she was kicked out.
I think Daryl fell in love with Beth. By the way, Herschel just got bit on my TV show that I'm watching.
That was the crazy part.
I think Daryl fell in love with Beth in a sibling type of way. I don't think he actually fell in lust with her or anything.
I think that's where he's at with Carol now, though. I think it's a motherly figure to him now.
What?
Yeah.
See, I took the Beth thing as a kind of like a daughter moment for him, caring for someone, caring for a human being. He already lost his brother. At that point, he was still going back and forth with Carol. Carol just kind of came back into the group. But, he lost Carol. He wanted to know why. And that was a big part for Rick, was going to be telling Daryl what happened. And he doesn't get a chance to say goodbye. It was just kind of just like, hey, this happened. This is the reason why it happened. And, you kind of have to deal with that. So I think that's when he kind of lost that feeling for Carol. But No, I don't think that he had a love interest. I just think it was just a fathery kind of figure. It was just like that next person that he cared about. I don't think he cares about Rick as much as he would care about Beth or how he cares about Carl. It was always just like Beth. Beth was like the princess, I guess. I don't know.
I think
Yeah,
I think that for Daryl, that next person is going to be Judith.
Yeah,
yeah.
because I really don't believe that they're going to get rid of Daryl because I feel like a lot of people would give up on the show if Daryl died.
Yeah. But he is.
Uh,
I think his character development is going to be crazy for the rest of this season. It's just
yeah,
going to be a different Daryl. But just give me 1 second. I'm gonna let my brother in, and then I'm gonna hop back on here.
All right.
Uh,
um, I think another thing, though, with Daryl, I feel like this sounds weird, but like Tyrese just died, or Tyreek, and I feel like Daryl wanting the emotions is almost like him taking that emotional place on the team.
It is Tyrese, by the way.
It's Tyrese.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're
Um,
good.
but yeah, I think possibly that might be what's about to happen. Daryl might become more of the level-headed one. But then watching Sasha change too, because Sasha's a totally different person right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like last episode, she was just like didn't listen, didn't care, didn't do anything. Like
She's lost so much. I mean, she lost Bob. Now she lost her brother. It's just like she hasn't really experienced loss like that yet. You know what I mean?
But yeah, and I feel like the other people that have lost stuff, they're at a different place. Like they've had time to deal with it. Like Daryl losing his brother, Carl and Rick losing their mom and wife. Then you had like, Maggie losing her dad and Beth. There's a lot of people that have lost things, but Sasha's just not dealing with it right
But
now.
see, all those people that you mentioned that lost things still have somebody to hold on to. Rick still has Carl. Carl still has Rick. Maggie still has Glenn. You know what I mean? Everybody still kind of has somebody to hang on to, even though they've had loss. Sasha has no one.
Do you know what the biggest foreshadowing thing? You know how we were talking about how Beth was like the loss of innocence?
Uh huh.
I think the biggest foreshadowing so far on this series is last episode when the pastor, what's his name?
Oh, I forget his name, but yeah, the preacher guy. Yeah.
When he took off his preacher collar and threw it into the fire. I felt like that right there alone was just like kind of this like symbolism of like shit's about to get real. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. No, definitely. I mean, he pretty much gave up on religion at that point. He just, he was such a man of God, so to speak. To that point, he was trying to do the right thing. He didn't want to kill even walkers, but he's pretty much fed up with it. And he's just pretty much to the point where he's like, all right, this can't be God's doing. Is there even a God now? I think that's what's going through. That's what he's battling right now.
Well, yeah, and I mean Maggie. Remember Maggie said, "I used to be." You know what I mean? Like I feel like with Beth and then Tyrese dying, like all of the level-headed and like chill people are gone.
Yeah, definitely. I could
And
definitely see that.
Sean, you back?
yes, I am.
We were talking. I told him that I think one of the biggest foreshadowing things on this series just happened last episode was when the pastor took off his preacher collar and threw it into the fire.
Yeah.
With the loss of Tyrese, the loss of Beth, so innocence and like level-headedness, and now the loss of faith. And
Before
then
you,
like
oh, go ahead.
I feel like faith, innocence, level-headedness, and hope are all gone right now.
Before you get into your thoughts on that, Sean, I just want to shout out the comments real fast, just so everybody knows we didn't forget about them. Mike, ooh, holy crap, I don't know how to say that name. Michaelis Giorgio? I don't know. He says, great to catch you guys online. I just watched the last episode of Walking Dead. That ending, though, am I right? And we'll get to that. Death to Nubby Nubs. He says he's here. Shout out Robert King. He wants to know where you got that Queen hoodie, Sean.
No
Go.
one can know. It's a custom piece.
There you go.
Mhm.
Ghost Hookah 2014 shout out. Craig Odom shout out. He said he thought he was going to see us zombified on the podcast. Sorry to disappoint you. Ghost Obsessed. Andy Canada. 95 Honda EG6. Shane Bond shout out. Shout out to Ahmed Farkish and Javier P. And that was before the refresh. So if I missed anybody, we'll get you on the
I
next
I
run.
think I think you're
Shout
good.
out. I think we're
Yeah.
okay. So your thoughts on the preacher throwing his collar into the fire, Sean?
Yeah, that was a good moment. But I like how Fletcher described that just with all four of the kind of areas of trust or things that you need, I guess, for a whole group. As far as him taking his collar off, he did take the collar off, but later on in the episode, you do see him apologizing to God or whatnot, just saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." So I don't know if that's something where he shows that he's regretting his choice of throwing that in there, and maybe he'll pick it back up later on, or if this new mentality, hey, maybe he'll kill a zombie and not be a pansy about it, just falling over and hiding somewhere.
I think when he kills a zombie, we're gonna see a whole new outlook. I think once he turns that corner, I feel like things are gonna change a lot for the whole group.
Yeah, but also, and then Maggie bringing up the whole thing about him running away. I mean, it kind of showed that, like, hey, we haven't forgot what you've done or anything like that. So he's going to have that kind of going along in the back of his head. So that's usually right now why no one really talks to him. He's just kind of there. He's just, I mean, he's messed up so many times that he's just like, he's a human, he's a body. Maybe we'll use him, maybe we won't. But sure, he can walk around with us. But I definitely don't see him as part of the group, quote unquote.
Yeah, not yet. I think that time is going to come. He still has to prove himself to the group,
Mhm.
but he's definitely an outsider walking amongst strangers right now, being in the group.
I mean,
Did you have more thoughts on that, Fletcher?
I don't know, man. I just don't know what to expect because last episode was depressing, dude. Like the past two have just been heavy. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
not been any hope. There's not been any faith. There's not been anything. And so, I feel like all of their sales were deflated or whatever the word is because
They
they
lost the
spent so
wind in their
much time.
sails.
Yeah, they spent so much time looking for Beth and they found her, and then boom, dead.
That was a pretty powerful death, which kind of propels me into a question. What do you think was the most peculiar / awesome / crazy / weirdest death? Like, what death stood out to you the most of anybody in the group of all the seasons? We'll start with you, Fletcher.
Thank
Man,
you.
main character death.
Yeah. Or any death, whatever death just stood out, whether it was the governor's death, what was the most powerful death to you has stood out from
I think I
everything
know
thus
what he'll
far?
say.
What?
I said, I think I'll know what you'll say, but I'm going to let you continue because if you don't say it, then I'm saying it.
Okay. Well, then you say it first because I have no. I'm trying to think about it.
I was going to say, well, crap, now I forgot her name. The mom.
Lori.
Lori?
Yeah, Lori.
Really?
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, it was crazy because of how it had to go down. I mean, Carl having to do it, plus, they introduce, a kid into the picture as well. You think of all these things that she's probably going to be needed for, and it's like, oh, we don't see that happening. We probably won't see her getting killed anytime soon because she just had a kid. But then, bam, out of nowhere, she is killed, and she's killed by her son, out of all people. And just how that all spiraled down, and then how it propelled Rick into that crazy mentality when he was seeing her out in the field and
You
walking
got
out
talking
trying
on
to
the
talk.
phone.
Yeah, yeah, on the phone, and just like, what is happening? Like, this is all because of that death right there.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And by the way, Judith killed Lori. Carl killed the Walker Lori, but
Ah,
Judith actually
yeah,
killed
yeah,
Lori.
yes, yes. But yeah, he still had dealt the final blow. And that's a terrible way to see your mom, I guess. I mean, if you think about it, that is a terrible, terrible way of having to kind of, one, continue life, B, I don't know why I just said that, one and B. Anyways, to, raise a kid as well. They all had to look at that at like, crap, she's dead. Now we've got a kid and everything else that's about to, unravel. Um, yeah, and she was kind of a level-headed person for the females of the group. I mean, she was kind of the Rick of the ladies, except for Carol. Carol was still in between. But you definitely, if you think about it now, you definitely couldn't have, the powerful characters like Carol or Beth with Lori in the picture. I feel like she needed to be gone for those people to kind of rise.
I mean, for me, the most peculiar and like surprising one is still to this like is Beth, man. Like that was out of nowhere. Like none of us were expecting that. None of us.
Once I saw the hallway scene, I was like, this isn't going to end nicely. This is
actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna say Beth. The fucking little girls, Mika and
Oh.
Dude.
Yeah.
Did not see that coming.
Especially the way that the girl took out the other one. I was like, what? Are you serious?
Yeah. It's funny because I actually ruined that one for Nuck on accident. I was like, "You up to date?" He's like, "Yeah." And I didn't understand that he was up to date on Netflix, not the show. And I was like, "Dude, what about when the little girl killed the other little girl?" And he was like, "What, dude?
I hate you so much."
Dude.
I'm having a bit of technical difficulties in my headphones real quick, so I'm going to be silent for a second while I address
Turn
this.
the beat up in my headphone. He can't even hear me.
Turn the bass up. Turn the bass in my headphones.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, when the little girl killed what was her name? Mika and
Lizzie.
Oh yeah, Mika and Lizzie.
Mika and Lizzie, and their dad was Ryan.
Yeah, so whenever Mika or Lizzie killed Mika and was like, she's coming back, we have to wait. Dude, like, I was just like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, she was sitting there just covered in blood, just like, it's okay. I'm
and
like,
then Carol took her out to the pasture and put her to sleep.
Yeah, I was like, wow. And Tyrese was just like, what?
Yeah, that part right there, I was just like, man, came out of nowhere, peculiar.
My bad. Yeah. I had to switch to my speakers on the computer, so let me know if you guys are hearing yourself, and I'll try to address it.
Okay. No, you're good. So your peculiar moment, your death.
For me, I would say Beth. Just the way it happened, man. Like, again, with that, they pretty much put rescuing Beth as their priority, and she was right there in their hands. They had her, and then just like she changed. I still don't understand. Maybe one of you guys can explain it, but she's like, I see it now. I understand what you're trying to do or whatever. And then she goes to kill her, and it's like, why did she do that? I still don't understand why she did that, and that's why it's crazy to me. I don't understand why she did that. Her friends and family were right there. She was finally going to make it back to them. Why did she take herself out of the equation like that?
She made a promise. I don't know if it was exactly a promise, but she gave Noah her word that she was going to help him get back to his town. I mean, that's what Noah kind of repeats a couple times, is that she was going to help me. She was going to do this. And that's why they continued on doing, helping Noah get back to his place, is because Beth said that she was going to help him. Beth said, this and that. So when she saw, basically the deal was going well, and then at the last minute, the lady's like, I want Noah as well. And it's like, no, you can't have Noah. And it's like, no, I have to have him. It's just one for one. Like, we need him. And so that's when she kind of was just like, I see what's going on here. I don't know if she was just like, you don't want to let these people live, or you're trying to just, I don't know what she was realizing was going on. Yeah, she, I think she just realized that she just wanted to keep people around just for, her bidding, her doing, and then she just kind of needed to end it. But I will say that was, I mean, she caught the girl in surprise, number one, and she still only stabbed her in the shoulder, like the top of the, like right here, like out of all places. Like I was like, oh, she's gonna slice her throat or stab her in the throat or in the eye or somewhere where a kill spot at least. No, she stabbed her in the shoulder. Come on. She was not. I mean, I don't know if she just like halfway into doing it, she realized maybe I don't want to kill her. Maybe I'll just injure her. But I mean, if she was realizing that, uh, this lady wants to be the head of the throne or do this and that, then just take her out completely, not just a quick little stab to the shoulder.
Okay, so random Nuck, did you have something to say on that? Because I have a question that follows that up.
Well, I feel like they could have got Noah back. They could have made it out of there and found a way to get Noah. They found a way to negotiate for Beth, and I just feel like she didn't have to do that, and I don't see why she wouldn't know that. I mean, if they've done many things like that before, so why? I don't understand what was going through her head. Maybe she just started going crazy or whatever, but I felt like they could have got out of that situation with nobody dying, and they could have came back for Noah. You know what I mean? Like,
Someone
She
would have
just,
died when they went back for him, though.
yeah, she just did not want to let go of anything. I mean, she just couldn't let the deal go. She couldn't let people be happy. She just had to be at the top. I mean, she just lost all those
but look what
officers.
happened at Terminus. You know, if they could get through that and get their, crew out of that, like,
That was that, but look at how they got out of Terminus. It wasn't just a quick 1-2 like easy. I mean, like you almost lost Glenn. You almost lost. Who were the other people that were like they had their heads over the tub? Huh?
Rick,
Bob.
Glenn,
Yeah, yeah,
Earl.
yeah. Bob and Rick and Daryl. I mean, they could have lost characters there. I mean, but just lucky, that Carol is on the outside and creates a diversion, creates the explosion. But that's the only reason they got out is because of Carol. So if
but
Carol
they
wasn't
always
there,
figure it out, and they mention that. They always say we
yeah,
always figure out a way to survive.
yeah. But just saying that was I don't know if I would use. I don't know. It's just a craziness. It's a
With that,
crazy.
though, like, with people's deaths, whose death have you cared less about? Like, who do you think's death has had the least impact on the show?
Sorry, my dogs. Someone else can take that if they already have something in
I mean,
mind.
I know what I want to say to it, and
I have to think about it.
it's Bob.
Bob.
Yeah, like, he was kind of important, but kind of not. But, like, I didn't feel much whenever he died.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
he was the way he was introduced and his actions throughout it. I mean, he was a recovering alcoholic. He messed up when they went and when they had the water zombies or the guys that were wherever they went to, where the guys were mostly covered in water and they were all bloated. That was awesome. I like I like zombie makeup and stuff, and that was awesome. Those guys were crazy looking. But yeah, Bob pretty much there was nothing really to it. I mean, it kind of helped Sasha's character, so I guess they needed to give her some type of emotion. I think she would have been good with just her brother, but now having her brother and Bob gone, now she's just kind of crazy. She's shooting dogs now. I mean,
well,
it's
yeah, and, like, another thing, though, like, that kind of piggybacking off that question, I'm sure we can all agree the character I could have cared less if they died until they died was Merle.
okay.
Really?
I didn't care about him. Everyone hated him. And then, like, he
But he was
changed his,
important for Daryl.
but he was and he wasn't. Like, everyone hated Merle, though, until he died. And they zoomed in on his eyes, and you just saw this whole new look from Merle.
Okay,
Um,
there's that character, but there's also one that I think people kind of forget about is Dale.
That's who I was gonna pick.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
Dale.
Dale. Oh yeah, Dale. Yeah, that's I mean, I didn't think he had any bad parts. I mean, he was somewhat secretive, but he was secretive to the point of, where it would help other people. Like he wouldn't tell people different things. So I think if Dale was still around, like if Dale, Tyrese, and Herschel, like three level-headed people, were still around, this would be a whole different group. But just, you realize these things, as you talk about them. It's like, well, that character was there for a reason, or it was to build off onto this because Daryl and Herschel, I could take them, either way. I mean, just like they're just the old head guy that kind of knows, the rules and how to react around groups of people.
And was Dell kind of the first one to go of the main people? I mean, I know that
No.
one black lady died in the CDC, but I mean, as
One
far as
black
people
lady.
that like were kind of important on the show, she really wasn't important. Dell was kind of important.
Shane died before Dale, though.
Hmm.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No, Dell got bit. He got his guts ripped out,
Yeah,
and
but
while
they
they
were on
were
the
out
farm.
there,
They were on the farm though.
Yeah, Shane died before the farm, before they went looking for
Yeah.
soap.
Yeah, because it was on the farm. They had the RV out in the farm, and they also had the well where they had to go out and
Ruin the water source because they cut half the zombie into it.
yeah, and Dale was around for that because his RV was out front. That's the reason that they got to the farm is because they had the two RVs going over there, and they had them stationed in front of the farm. But Dale was definitely there after Shane.
really,
Shane
Hmm.
was
huh?
the first. Shane was the first major character that dies, but the first major character that wasn't major at all that we lost was Morgan because they parted ways.
Hmm.
But now he's coming back. So
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it was Dale. I was just kind of like, it sucks. It sucked. It sucks when anyone dies, but it's just kind of like, all
oh,
right, well, if
what
if they had to pick somebody to go at that point of the series, I'm glad it was Dale.
what about the other black guy? I can't remember his name.
T
Oh,
Dog.
T-Dog.
Yeah, T Dog was awesome because I was upset when he was almost killed. So when he was bit the first time, I was like, no, he's gonna die, at the end of this episode or next episode because the infection will take over. But then they were able to like treat him, get him medication, and this and that. So I was like, they saved him for a reason. He'll go on, and then he dies. And I'm like, oh, okay, well that's that. I definitely like T Dog. He was cool, but Tyrese over T Dog for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then do you all remember the guy at the prison, the redheaded dude with the mustache that was like all of a sudden him and Carol hit it off, and then
Yeah.
out of nowhere he got shot?
Yeah.
That whole scene, yeah, when Rick had to fight the dude in the prison, the whole group of the inmates that were already there.
Yeah, we're actually the inmates right now are looking for him.
Okay. Yeah, that was. We just need to meet the guy. We'll talk to him, and it's like, okay, you can stay in here, but you're gonna stay on that side of the cell, and we're gonna stay on this side. But yeah, that was I don't know. This has been a crazy show, and they've got the prequel show already lined up, the prequel to The Walking Dead. And then also Robert Kirkman, the writer for the comic, has another story coming out, and it was actually picked up by Cinemax 2 days ago. So we get to see what else is in store for everyone.
So,
Obviously,
okay, I have a question for the group. Who do you think is going to be the next one to die from the group?
um,
Sasha.
mm, I'm thinking Glenn.
That's
Glenn-
man, we are like
Yeah.
on par right now, dude.
Yeah, I'm thinking Glenn, and it's got to be a Glenn or Maggie situation. Maggie's gonna do something crazy because she has no hope, and
Yep.
Glenn's trying to restore hope to her, and she's gonna do something crazy where she ends up getting herself killed, or she does something crazy, and Glenn tries to come in and help her, and ends up sacrificing his life for Maggie's. I think that's how it's gonna go down.
I don't think another major character will die in this season until the last episode.
Nah, I think. Well, it may be the last. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I think that next person is Glenn, and the reason that I think that is because of the last episode I just watched, the scene at the trunk. Just something was not right about that.
Yeah.
I mean, Maggie opens up the trunk. There's a walker in there tied up, and then she just closes it, and then Glenn comes in the picture, and he's like, what are you doing? Like, you know
I
what I mean?
left it in there. It was still alive.
What about I don't know, man. I'm afraid something's gonna happen to Michonne too.
No.
Nah,
She's
I don't think. And I've never read the comic, so I don't know what's supposed to happen. I don't
Michonne's
want to
not
read
the
them for that
comic.
reason. I don't want to read them for that reason because I want to just go along and be with the show, and I don't know. I don't want to know what's going to happen, but I feel like I'm on par with you, Sean. Like I feel like it's going to be Glenn, and the reason I feel that is just because of that last scene. Like I think it's going to come sooner than the end of the season.
Hmm.
Well, there's only probably like what, 3 or 4 more episodes until they end this season.
Oh
It's eight.
no.
It's 8, so they
8.
have 6 more.
Okay, so I mean,
Yeah.
it very well could happen at the end of the season, but I feel like that what happened at the trunk. I mean, it was so random.
Yeah. It
There
was
had to
that. It
be
was the
something for a
trunk.
reason.
It was the trunk and the walk. It was a walk after when she's saying that she's giving up or something like that, and that's when Glenn has to restore faith into her, saying it's gonna get better. Just stay positive. Blah blah blah.
What what about the
But
fake scientist guy?
the
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 guy
fake
that
scientist guy.
the guy that runs funny that doesn't have the
The
cure.
mullet.
Yeah, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Eugene. Um, him dying, sure, that could happen. I don't see his
But I
character as
don't consider him a major character.
no, no. Well, I definitely do see his death probably happening sometime soon. The only reason I was saying that there's probably going to be another big character death is based off of what's the guy Rick he did an interview and he was saying how this last bit of this season is just going to be complete chaos for the characters that are on board. And I was like, okay, that sounds like torture. So, and
See,
based off of how it looks off of that next episode, yeah, if you look at it, there's a scene where Daryl is literally about to get bitten, like right over the back, and I'm wondering who's gonna pop in and save him or what's gonna go down. Because it's always like someone pops in to save someone, but it puts themselves in a worse situation than they were before. And that's why I feel like something's gonna happen between Maggie and Glenn, and it's just gonna make their character stronger. I don't think that Maggie would make Glenn's character stronger. I think it would make him even more crazy. He's already starting to lose it. But I think if Glenn were to get lost, then Maggie would be a completely different person. Beth, her dad, everyone else losing or dying, yeah, she'll be somewhat crazy.
see, and I put like Eugene, the mullet guy, the guy with the mustache, the crazy GI Joe dude,
Abraham.
Abraham, Sasha, and who's the other one? That
Ashley.
one chick, that one young girl that's like she was
Oh,
The one that has makeup or without makeup?
without makeup, not the hot one, not the hot one,
Okay.
not the
the
one
one
that's
that was
big.
with the governor. The one that was
Yeah,
with
the one that
Yeah,
that
Sarah.
I put those people in the Dale category. Like if somebody has to die, I'd want it to be one of them because
Yeah.
it wouldn't impact me. I
Funny.
mean, it'd be a big impact regardless of whoever dies. But it's like if somebody has to die, I want it to come from that pool. But I feel like it's gonna be Glenn.
A funny thing that's not related to Walking Dead, but the character Tara. Do you guys know who her brother is?
No.
He's the guy from that '70s show with the afro, with the curly afro. Crap, now I can't remember his name. Have you guys watched that '70s show?
Wait, which one's Tara?
Tara's what we were just talking about. The guy that's the girl that's with the redhead guy, not the one that wears makeup.
Oh,
The
okay.
one with the governor.
Yeah, yeah. Her brother is a guy from that.
Who is that? Who is that chick that's banging Abraham? She's hot, dude.
That is, I don't know. Are you wondering where she came from or what?
I mean, she's just dope. Like if I was Shane and I stayed with the group and I lost Lori, I'm like, yo, Abraham, you gotta go, bro.
Oh, it was Hyde. That's who it was from that '70s show. Hyde, the one that has the
Okay.
black dad. I like that show. Yeah.
Dude, where is she at? She's not even on the main. Well, oh, is she Officer Dawn Lemmer?
No, she's Rosita.
Oh, Rosita.
Yes, Rosita Espinosa.
She's not even on the like main. Oh, there she is. God, she's
Yeah.
dope, dude.
No one's gonna beat Maggie in my book, man. Sorry.
Yo, Maggie.
Well, because you only like white girls.
I could take that. No, I know for a fact. Wait, no. I'm thinking of the Luna after party, Fletch. I'm, what?
Whoops.
Another.
But like we say, what happens in Vegas. Anyways, yeah, that chick is definitely cool, but yeah, I'm going with Maggie. And like I was saying before, that goes with either accent. If you guys have only seen her speak on the TV show, look up her actual interviews when she's out of character, because both accents were good.
Two
Doesn't
thumbs up.
Rick have like a? Isn't he from the UK?
Yeah, Rick has an accent as well.
That is so crazy to me when I
Well,
heard him interviewed.
yeah, did you ever listen to the guy from Sons of Anarchy, Jax? Did you ever listen to him speak out of character?
I have not.
No, but
Oh,
everybody tells me I look like some dude named Opie or something like that.
yeah, Opie. that was. But yeah, the main character from Sons of Anarchy, his accent is super strong. It's a super British accent or UK accent.
So,
Hey,
But
do you
so
watch
real
True
quick.
Blood? This is so off topic. You know Jason from? Oh, you don't? Do you, Fletcher?
Nope.
Never mind that.
no,
Go
I,
ahead.
I
What were you gonna
watched I
say?
watched the first episode or no, the first season, and then I skipped a couple seasons, and I saw it came back on, and I started watching, and I was like, "What in the world is happening? Like
No,
nothing,
if you skip
nothing is the same." Yeah,
if you
I
skip
think,
seasons, it's not gonna work out for you. You gotta
yeah.
watch it through. But what were you gonna say?
I'm just not a vampire guy.
Yeah, so I was gonna say we're at like the hour mark. I want to know. I think we should do some final thoughts for the what's been going on and kind
Yeah,
of because
definitely.
dude, I feel like we could talk about everything, like catch random.
That's
Like,
great. Yeah, no, if people like this, then we'll definitely keep bringing it back up, and we'll
yeah,
keep.
please let us know whether it's on Facebook or on here, just because we're gonna try to make it not necessarily weekly, but try to do bi-weekly. Get 2 episodes in one show. I think that would probably be our best bet.
Well,
So
another thing is we went over the whole overview, so this one kind of dragged on a little bit longer than maybe expected, but they won't be quite like we're not gonna go over the whole first 4.5
Every time.
again every time. You know what I mean? So it'll just be more episode based. But yeah, as far as final thoughts, I guess like what do you think? What do you think's in store next?
a shitstorm.
Um, yeah, basically, number one, that guy had clean clothes. He had clean clothes and press clothes for the guy that just was introduced. Everything about him was clean, so he's obviously from a place where there is clean water, clean clothes, stuff like that. Um, whether or not he's good or bad, the way they have him positioned in the room with everyone like grilling him, even Rick, the guy who he came to go see. Um, I'm not sure where his character will take him, but hopefully we will get some explanation over the helicopters, because that's one thing that always gets me is whenever you see a scene that has a helicopter flying over, there's still hope somewhere. It's just where is that helicopter going, or where is it coming from, and who's inside.
Right. I'm in the same boat as Sean. Is I don't know what to expect, but I have a feeling it's about to get crazy, and it's
Mhm.
not going to be very dull episodes from here on out.
Yeah, and I don't follow the comic. I did for a little bit, but it was I was watching the show so much. I was liking how the show was being done. I am going to finish the comics after the show is done, um, but I've seen a couple of covers of the comics, and it's some foreshadowing. So if you don't want to ruin anything for yourself, definitely don't look at the covers of the comics, because there are some things that look like they hopefully they bring in to the show, because not everything that happens in the comic happens in the show, and also some of the characters that are in there aren't characters that are in the comic and how they react and talk. But yeah, that's it.
I guess what I was kind of gearing towards was because they weren't that far away from DC. I mean, on foot it's gonna seem like far, but
Yeah.
they weren't that far away from Washington. So I want to know, do they keep heading towards Washington, or are they going to try to visit this camp where this guy is from? He's obviously from a camp somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, he's from an establishment. Do they go and try to make it there? Or do they proceed on to Washington? Is it just going to be a pit stop? Do they start over? Do they, sit down and regather themselves there for a while, try to make it work? Like,
I think they're moving. They're going to keep moving.
keep moving to Washington? I see. I think they're gonna. I think it's. I don't think they're gonna even get to Washington by the end of the season. I think this whole
I
camp
think
is gonna be another storyline.
I think if they go to the camp, they're going to try to commandeer it and take over.
Yeah, That's kind of because even though Rick's saying we're going to push on to Washington, and Michonne is saying, hey, we should still try to push on to Washington. Deep down inside, after they figured out that the guy was a fake scientist, they're kind of just like, you know what, let's stick with what we know for now.
Yeah, and that's why they were saying, that's what Michonne was saying, was like, there's something in Washington. There's got to be something in Washington. He was headed there. Let's just keep going. We're halfway there. There's got to be something there because I mean, if you look, Washington may be the area that might be the most secure, but what I can't wait for is just the area design of how they're going to do Washington, because they've been playing around in the woods, they've been playing around in Georgia and all these open areas, just woods is all they have to shoot. They don't really have to do anything in the towns or anything like that. So
right. I mean, the whole series has been filmed about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from me in North Georgia. So everything's filmed in North Georgia, Atlanta.
Now, how's this for a parting shot? Are you more excited for them to reach Washington than you were when you saw that ending scene? I think it was season 3 when they showed the prison in the backdrop. Like, I was really excited when I saw the prison, and I was like, oh my god, like, you don't understand how excited I got for the series. I feel like I'm more excited. I was more excited for the prison. I'm excited to see if they make it to Washington, of course, because I want to see how the show progresses and ends. But I feel like they built up the prison thing so well, like showing just that fortress after they have had nothing like that ever.
Yeah.
Like, that was so like, oh, it did it for me for the show. Are you excited about them possibly getting to Washington at this point as you were from that prison, from them going to the prison, or not as much?
I like movement. I don't know. I like change of scenery. So if if they were to have that whole entire season be inside the prison, I don't know how much I would have watched, because there's only so much you can do. It's either a walker breaks in, or someone inside the prison has snapped and has gone crazy. But even going into that sickness, that outbreak, if you stay in one spot for a little bit with a large group of people, something's going to happen. Either someone's going to get bit, someone's going to get sick, something's, it's in the air. And it's already established, early on in the show, that it's already inside them. Once you die, you're going to turn. It's not that you catch it. You already have it. And being excited for Washington, 100%. And even when no one went back home, just seeing like all the houses that they could go to. I mean, everything was just abandoned. Just seeing all of that. That's what I like to see. If it's a zombie apocalypse, I don't want to keep staring at grass and trees and one farm. Like, I want to see like total destruction. Just actual apocalypse. I want it to be apocalypse, not like an apocalypse in a field. That's not what I want to see. Like, I just want to see some destruction. So definitely, I am amped for Washington and for the travel that they're going to have to make, to get out there.
They're 60 miles away, so.
50 miles?
60.
60. What about you, Fletcher? Are you pretty amped up for Washington? I mean, we're all amped up for it, obviously, but like, does it have the same impact as?
I'm amped up for them to have hope again. And I don't think they're going to make it to Washington. I think that Rick sees that people need hope, so he's given them an end goal, but his real goal is to find something before Washington.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that's why I don't think they'll make it to Washington by the end of this season. I know we got to get out of here, and I'm not going to bring up another topic, but I do want to say one thing I really wanted to talk about that I forgot to mention was that sickness that occurred in the prison.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was that?
Yeah.
That kind of was random, and then it just kind of went away when the governor came in.
I think it was something along the lines of pneumonia or the flu that was just killing people, and they were turning died. I don't think it was anything crazy.
Yeah.
But how did it come about?
Well, it's germs. I mean, think about what they're eating. I mean, they're eating crap. I mean, they're eating, either animals or something random. But also you have kids as well. You have old people. So you have both, ends of the spectrum of weak immune systems. They're catching this and it's spreading because you can't be that clean in an area like that. You're breathing the same air, and so they basically were just getting so weak that they couldn't, fend off anything, and so the virus just takes over. They just
So you
die.
think it was like a regular virus that kind of
Yeah.
combined with the zombie virus and evolved
Well,
into that?
no, not combined. It's basically just I think it was people dying from the flu or just dying from
Yep.
some type of disease. And then after that, since you already have the virus inside of you, once you die, then you turn. But definitely, they had fevers, they were coughing, they were throwing up. I mean, it's basically just the flu. And I was wondering at one point, when was that going to be played into it? Because that's the one thing you always got to think about, if you're preparing for a zombie apocalypse, is you're going to need antibiotics or flu medicine or flu remedies because they're laying, they're sleeping in a forest, or they're outside and it's raining and it's cold. They're going through all this stuff. They don't have, ways to make themselves feel better. They don't, have regular medicine. So,
I
yeah.
feel like there's a deeper meaning to it, and whenever they make it to Washington, it'll be answered, or at least I think it's going to come up again. I don't think that I don't know if anybody's going to die from it again, but I think it's going to be revisited. Like, what was that? I hope it is, because I want to know more about that. I think it's deeper than that. But I mean, that we'll save that for
Yeah. I
another
say
show.
I mean, you could pull, malaria from mosquitoes, Lyme disease from ticks. There's all these different diseases that could just pop up randomly, and they don't have the medicine to fend it off. So if it's something that, in our day and age right now, you could die from, like Dr. Seuss died from strep throat. I mean, so it's like that's something that, if you have strep throat, you can just go to the doctor and get some medicine and you're cured. But if they get strep throat out there right now, that's something that could possibly they could die from. So it's just, having the necessities.
Yep.
Right on.
So
Well, with that being said, I think we've gone about 15 minutes over what we targeted.
I can talk forever about zombies.
yeah.
Definitely a good show, fellas. Thanks for doing this, and look forward to the next one. Is there anything you want to close with, Fletcher?
Nah. Be here. Be here. Be sure to watch on Sunday and be ready for another one of these ASAP.
Nice. What about you,
Yeah.
Sean? You have any closing shots?
Closing shout outs to everyone. Anyone watching and everyone planning to watch at a later time, thank you for being here. Expect a very awesome photo on my Instagram on Monday around. I'm actually going to put a time on this. I'm going to say around like 9:30, 10 o'clock. You'll see a photo on my Instagram on Monday that will change the game. So,
Central time. Central time, guys. Not
Central time,
10:30,
Central time.
11 Eastern time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By the way,
and that's in the AM. That's in the morning. Just to let you know.
when we announce future shows, I think we're gonna all start going by Eastern Standard Time because we always throw out a different time zone.
Yeah, we're all in different areas.
That's
So
easy for me.
we'll go Eastern Standard Time from now on. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and close out. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We did one round of shout outs. Sorry if we didn't get to you after that. We just got really into the topic. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll have another one of these up. If you all liked it, let us know with thumbs up and comments what you thought about this. And that pretty much does it. So
Deuces.
for everybody here at BTC, we will see you all on the next one.
Later.
Deuces.